was working on carving this napkin holder and realized that this section with the kind of larger chips surrounding the small rosette offered an opportunity to share kind of an aspect that I use for areas like this. And that is, I would normally start with the big chips, just kind of get them out of the way, a little bit easier, and can work around those. But with the, I guess, the relationship between the big chips and these little chips, this forms a kind of coherent circle that I want to make sure is nice and even and consistent, so I can carve this all the way around. And that combined with the size of how small they are, any deviation in these small chips is going to be very apparent, both just because of how small they are and because of the circle that they're matching. And you can identify the entire circle very easily within a single view. You don't have to kind of like look around and follow it. Obviously the whole pattern here is a big circle, but if this area isn't exactly consistent with this area, you're not really going to notice that. But with these tiny chips being all in close proximity, any inconsistency, if one's a little bit flatter or smaller or whatever than the other ones, then you're going to notice. So basically, I give priority to these small chips, because if I were to do these big ones first and I was a little bit inconsistent, maybe I got off this circle line just a little bit and came in, then this one's going to get flat, it's going to be smaller, it's going to stand out. And these aren't the main feature. They're not really the draw of this pattern, so it's possible that it wouldn't be as bad as I'm kind of making it out to be. But at least to my eye, when I've had that happen in the past, that's where I get this idea from. That's why I started doing it this way. It's really bothered me when there's just nothing you can do, right? Once you've removed the wood on the outside of this chip, then you can't make up for it. You can't carve more to expand it. So I like to focus on the kind of more important ones that I can't do anything different with on these first. So that's why I'm starting with these little chips. I'll just do one more and then kind of move on. But as I've talked about before too, again, since they're making one single circle, I like to carve that circular perimeter all at once, keep the knife moving, make them flow together nicely, and then I can do the insides of these chips where they don't interact with each other. But you can see with that, I guess with having the outside intact, I'm able to focus more on the kind of detail-y aspect of these small chips, and I don't have to worry about carving exactly up to the line and any fragility of the ridge that's going to be created there. And I can make sure that those are nice and consistent. Grab my finer knife here to actually, I guess I was already dealing with a finer knife. Didn't even realize that. You can see these little diamond shapes here are quite small. I don't know, maybe only 2 or 3 millimeters in the longer direction here. But on the composition of this pattern, I thought that these little rosettes, because the main thing that I had was this kind of butterfly shape, which is very consistent, fairly large chips, but all the same size, and then I could just carve these triangles out, but that would be a very large chip to do this whole triangle area together, which I didn't really want to do. Plus, it would just kind of look a little bland on its own, so I wanted to put something else in here to kind of fill it in, and then also provide some contrasting in, I don't know, I guess, texture or interest. So these are pretty basic, simple rosettes, but with how small they are, I think it adds a lot of kind of fineness to the design. Adds a nice contrast and balance to the main rosette. And things are going to get even tinier once I need to carve out the little triangles off of these football shaped squares. So I like to be efficient and do kind of all the same direction of cut through these. So I've got 4 cuts in each orientation. Finish up the opposite carving direction here with the other 2. Clear all these chips out of here so I can finish up the details. Alright, and then I'll just remove these absolutely tiny little triangles from each one. Realized I forgot to carve these. And again, as I often say, a design like this, with just how tiny these chips are, getting the knife as sharp as possible is crucial when you're carving at this scale. The grain just plays a significant role in how the cut behaves, and you want to minimize that relative to the blade, which is also why I'm using this knife that has a thinner blade thickness. You can see the grind goes all the way up instead of stopping halfway, and so that makes the knife a lot thinner where it's going into the wood, which provides less friction, or I guess not friction, but less resistance. It's less wedging and pushing against the wood. So again, letting the cutting edge, the blade, really do the work and not have to fight against other forces. So that's my process for doing these little rosettes, and why I start with doing those before doing that, to preserve that and make sure that I can get all the detail work that I need before I do the bigger stuff, which is more forgiving, and also can just adjust if I need to around it.